Hey y'all, I hope y'all were able to get this live. I'm sorry for any inconveniences and any confusion. So I'm going to give you all a second to kind of catch up with me. I pray that you all were able to get that last message I just sent in the chat from the last one. So I'm going to pause for a second. Hey, there you go. Thanks, Maxine. I apologize for any confusion. Hey, glad you came along. Thank you for that. Hey, Pamela. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I'm sorry for that inconvenience. Hey, found it. Good, good, good. Well, tonight, I'm really excited because what I want to encourage you all to do is go back to when I first started doing these lives, these podcasts, which was about 13 days ago, 14 days ago. And because I believe I started on August the 10th. Yeah, it was August the 10th. Go back and go to each one of them so you can catch up to what's going on now, because this story is really phenomenal. And the story has been very consistent since I first started doing any of these lives. And I'm just going to shoot off the cuff, y'all. I'm not doing any notes or anything like that tonight. This isn't going to be real long, only because of the fact that I just want to get into it without having to just go too deep. Well, today Donald Trump came out and he did a press conference at the Rose Garden. I guess it was around 3:30 Eastern time. I think it was 3:30 Eastern time. But right around 3:41, he introduced Linda McMahon. And I don't know if you all are aware who Linda McMahon is, but she's she's over the Department of Education. So if y'all remember those stories I was telling y'all before, how this whole system had to treat you as being dead because that's the only authority that they had over you. This story is really good because dead, as in DOE, John Doe, Jane Doe, DOE is Department of Education. And the Department of Education was founded in the year 1964. And y'all remember 64 is the date of the beast. So yesterday, the beast, which is the name of the presidential limousine, took its final lap around the White House and the National Mall. All that happened yesterday. And it took its final lap. And then today, Donald Trump allows Linda McMahon to give her speech. But she did it in front of a lot of, it looked like to me, it was like a melting pot. Okay, when I say a melting pot, I mean it was a very diverse audience that she was speaking to. And normally when you see these things that they have at the White House, they only are speaking to predominantly Caucasian people. And when I say predominantly, I mean like damn near 95% Caucasian. Well, this was very diverse. And why was it diverse? They had a lot of melanated people, indigenous people, the true Americans, and a lot of them were children. Because, and when I say children, I'm talking about as young as maybe 6 years old, 6, maybe even 7. Because when you first start the first grade, 9 times out of 10, you're right at the age of 7 years old. And that's when they start casting those spells on you, right? So you remember I said when you get to first grade, that's when you do that pledge of allegiance. You put your hand over your heart to suppress your heartbeat like you're dead. So once they make you dead, then they can cast spells on you. And that's why the first course that they give you is spelling, because you have to cast a spell on yourself. And again, DOE, as in John Doe, Jane Doe, Linda McMahon was speaking to these children. And then Donald Trump said, okay, after the speech was given, he said to the children, well, all y'all follow me to the helipad. Well, the helipad is the H, right? H as in helipad. He said, y'all follow me there. Now, I know ain't these children not knowing what the hell was really going on, but I did. I saw right through it. The helipad was the reversal, because it was reversing you from being dead to living. So you have to start when the spell was first cast. They first cast the spell on us when we were young. That's why they came after these children. And they had to reverse the spell on the young to make them now living versus being dead. Okay? Because why? The timing of this is relevant. Tomorrow, and that's the name of the show, y'all. It's called Entering Area 51. Well, tomorrow's 8. You got 25 and 26. 25 and 26 is 51 as in Area 51. And 8 is forever. Infinity. Right? That's why I named the show that, because we're entering Area 51. When I first started some of this stuff, and I said, this thing is about to be over with. It's really being over with. They are really reversing the spells that they have cast on us. And today, too, the head of the Department of Treasury came out to speak, and he was talking about doing away with the dollar or the fiat and start talking more about digital currency, because we're going into a digital system. We're going into a credit-based system. As I said before, you're no longer swimming in debt or drowning in debt. You'll be flying in credit. So that too happened today. And he said, now he started talking about Iran, but I told y'all, every time they start talking about Iran, IRAN, they're really talking about a white supremacist system. They're not even talking about that Middle Eastern country. Not at all. Right? So that too happened. And I was just kind of excited. Let me break down Iran for y'all, just so y'all know. Don't just think I'm just throwing it out there. Iran is I is 9, R is 18. So that's 27. A is 1, that's 28, and N is 14. That's 28 plus 14 is 42. And I told y'all white supremacy is 14, everything in threes, 14 times 3 is 42. So that's what Iran is really about. Then they start talking about, and I said this again, they start talking about the USS Abraham returning to land after being out at sea for, it was 200 and some odd days. I forgot the exact number of days, but it's returning to land. And what it's being replaced with, because I'm telling you, the descendants of Abraham, who are the heirs to the world, are also their inheritance is Area 51. So the heirs of Abraham have to return back to the land. That's what it's saying. So they're returning Abraham from the sea to the land, because the descendants of Abraham are no longer dead and lost at sea. That's what it means. So they're replacing it with the USS George Washington because he crossed the Delaware, and Delaware is part of the United States Corporation. That's where it is. So all this stuff is being reversed. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to throw out there, because when they start talking about Gary, Indiana, again, one of my followers that hits me up eventually, every now and then on my email, he was pointing out to me, he said, man, Gary, Indiana, if you break down Gary, Gary, is 51. I said, damn, he's right. As in Area 51. And I told you Morocco, if y'all look at the earlier videos, Morocco is Indiana. So it's like shutting down their power. When I say their power, we're talking about white supremacist power for 14 days. So Tuesday, which is tomorrow, will be the 14th day of no power in Gary, Indiana. Then the power will be restored, because God's covenant is to restore you to Area 51. And what does that really mean? It does not mean no aliens. It does not mean someplace off in Nevada, right? Or Arizona, wherever that place is. I say Nevada. But it's the 50 states plus Washington, D.C. 50 plus 1 is Area 51. And you remember I said that's the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant, as in Noah's Ark, right? If you look up Noah's Ark in Genesis, I want to say Genesis 7:1, it talks about Noah's Ark, and the Ark is 51 feet tall. They say cubits, so I'll say 51 feet tall and 510 feet long. Area 51. And Noah's Ark is NA. The N is 14, A is 1. So that's 141. So you're transitioning from a white supremacist ideology to the Kings, 141. And when you cross over from Memphis, and y'all need to look at this, you pull it up. There's US Route 51 that goes right up and down, north to south on the Nile River. So when you cross over the Nile, which is y'all call it the Mississippi River. When you cross over the Nile, you enter into Ark as in Arkansas, and its area code is 501 as in Area 51. That's why Martin Luther King said, I've been to the mountaintop, I've seen the promised land, but one day we're going to get to the mountaintop. He said, I may not get there with you, but one day we're going to get to the promised land. That's what he said. Let me say that quote correct, because I was all over the place. He said, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but one day we're going to get to the promised land. That's what he said. So the promised land, he went as far as he could, which is Egypt, Memphis, Tennessee, right? He could see the promised land because on the other side of the Nile River is Arkansas, which is the Ark of the Covenant. And that's why they call Arkansas the Diamond State. So if you take Egypt of the East, which is Africa, let me see if I can just draw it out. Hold on. So you take Egypt of the East, which is Africa, and I'm doing this like this. Now, really, it should be going that way, because, okay, but that's the upright pyramid. And then you take the inverted pyramid, and that's America. You see that? So it forms the shape of a diamond when you combine the two. So when you combine the two, That's where your riches are, because God's covenant is to restore you to your land. And Arkansas's nickname is the Diamond State, right? Because the third crater for diamonds is in Arkansas in the entire world. And they call the upper part where Walmart is, Walmart, everything in reverse. Walmart is, if you reverse it, is really martial law. And then you have the owner was Sam Walton, whose middle name is Moore. And I told you the reversal of Sam in Spanish is Moore. Was Sam is in English is Mas in Spanish, and Mas in Spanish is Moore in English. That's what I meant to say. Forgive me if I'm sounding like I'm a little all over the place, because I'm just I'm ripping freestyle. And normally I do a little better than that, but that's what it is. And up that way in northern Arkansas, you also have the Ozarks, which is the land of Oz. Ozarks, Oz, Ark, Ozark. So Oz, O-Z, O is 15, Z is 26. That's 41. So that's the land of Oz. And that's why Walmart is up there, because they're knowing that too is part of Jerusalem. Y'all can look this stuff up. Jerusalem is based out of Arkansas. I think they have a Jerusalem also in Texas, but I know there's one in Arkansas. And Arkansas and on out towards the west is your promised land. I was breaking this whole thing down with and I'm jumping a little bit, with Nevada and Area 51, because the name of the airport that they have over there is called Homey Airport. Homey. Well, the ancient female tribe that's based out of the Americas was the Homey tribe. We call, it's slang now for Homey, but Homey was actually the name of the tribe. And if you break down the word home as in homey, which is just adding the Y, home is 41. H is 8, O is 15, that's 23. M is 13, 23 and 13 is, what is that, 36, and E is 5. So 36 and 5 is 41. So that's what that is. Now, when Trump had all them kids come out to that helipad, he was doing no different than what he did when everybody thought he was tripping, when he went across the street. When he first got in office, everybody was like, that dude tripping. He got this Bible and he's holding it upside down and he's standing in front of a church. Well, it was 14 people with him. And then he held this Bible upside down and people were like, why is he doing that? He was reversing spells, because the street that he crossed over was H Street. Anyone can look this stuff up. It was H Street, right? And it's no different from when that dude won yesterday, Kyle Kirkwood, and he's 27 years old, and he had the H on his uniform, and the H stood for Honda. And then he had the pyramid over here. But if you reverse, H is the reversal. So if you reverse the pyramid that looks like this, it's the V going up, right? So that means Egypt of the West. I keep telling y'all about Tennessee being the world's commerce, right? Because it's going to be the capital for the world. Like when I started talking about Pluto Nash, Eddie Murphy's movie that they said flopped. But they were really telling you that the world's commerce is Nashville. But Tennessee is Lower Egypt. So I keep bringing that up. And the reason why because they have a college that they're best known for, and it's right off of a street called West End, as in Egypt of the West. But they also have a building next to it and a place called Centennial Park called the Parthenon. And the Parthenon has a 41-foot statue of Athena. And Athena is Poseidon's daughter. Because why do they have that? That's all that's inside of that damn Parthenon, other than art and some other little things that aren't really too significant. It's a giant statue, 41 feet tall. But if you think about it from a spell that they did on us, the spell was we had to be dead and lost at sea. Well, who the hell is Athena? Poseidon's daughter. Wasn't he the god of the sea? So we had to be dead and lost at sea. And she was known for doing what? She ordered the head of Medusa. She wanted the head of Medusa. Why would somebody want to cut off a head? You know, why would you want to kill this lady and you jealous of her for whatever reason? Why would you want to kill her instead of just letting her live out her life being ugly with so-called snakes all over her head and doing all this crazy stuff? Because that story was a lie. The story is Medusa was not an African goddess, but an American goddess. Okay? This is deep. So let me do this because I love doing this. My Cash App is $ all rights reserved. There you go. Now, because I'm about to get into this. So Medusa was not, she was curvaceous like a snake. She was so fine. See, those weren't snakes in her head. Those were dreads. And she was shapely, curvy. And she, you know, they said when men looked at her, they would turn into stone. No, their penises got hard as stone. That's the story. $ all rights reserved. So anyway, now let's break down Medusa. Med, then it says USA. Med, USA. Med, as in medical, means a hospital. So on the other side of that Centennial Park, where they have Athena, is on West End, which is West Egypt, is Vanderbilt Hospital. Can't make this up, y'all. Vanderbilt. V, as in Egypt of the West. Everything in threes. Guess what the nickname is? The Vanderbilt Commodores. C is 3, as in Commodores. Now, what's the symbol for the hospitals? It's the snake on the staff, as in Medusa. And if you break down the other part of Med, USA, as in USA, U is 21, S is 19, 21 and 19 is 40, and A is 1, that's 41. Told you she was an American goddess. Yeah, y'all hit the like button, subscribe, share, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for supporting me. And I got a few little donations yesterday, but I just wanted to thank y'all. Even if you don't donate anything, that's no biggie, because I want you all to share these videos, because I want you all to share them and really share them in chronological order, because all this stuff is lining up, because they're getting rid of the whole dead thing. Why y'all think they came out with that movie, The Odyssey? They were talking about Zeus, they were talking about Poseidon, and they were talking about Hades, right? And Hades is the god of the dead, and Poseidon is the god of the sea, and Zeus is your fake god. All of us dead and lost at sea. They were letting you know. And why would they do it now? They know all this stuff was a myth. So the whole thing, Area 51, all that's being reversed. Trump did that with those children, and y'all can pull that up. He was leading those children to the helipad, which is the H, helipad, right? And he was reversing a spell again. I guarantee you it was 14 children. I haven't even seen the entire video, but I guarantee it's probably 14 children so he could reverse that spell. Because that's what he did when he turned that Bible upside down. The Bible was really letting you know, he was like, we're no longer reading the first part of this Bible. We're now at the end of the Bible. So we need to reverse this thing and get on over to Revelations, because that's where we at now. We're at the end of days. And it's not, remember, the Bible is about balance. In the universe, you have to have good energy, but you also have to have negative energy. And there has to be a balance in the universe. So the Bible is about 50% good things and 50% not so good things. So when they start talking about the end of days, they're really talking about the end of days for one class of people to be supreme over the rest of us. And he's saying that those who once judged you would now be judged, and you come out of great wealth and abundance. They're letting you know that those days are over. See, one thing about Area 51, and now I'm talking about actual Nevada Area 51. They did a reversal with that, because guess what Area 51 is next to? Area 15. And why am I saying 15? Because they had to be, when they were in control of your Area 51, they had to be in control of the 5 civilized tribes. The 5 tribes are the L's, the Bays, the Days, the Owls, and the Alis, right? Or you can say the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole, right? Now, everything in 3, so what's 5 times 3? 15, as in Area 15. So they did a reversal with that, but that whole homing airport thing they did with the H. Because they were trying to control the 5 tribes of your Area 51. They were in control of the 50 states plus Washington, D.C. That's some real stuff, y'all. So anyway, where we at is tomorrow. We're going to Area 51, which is 2526. And 8 is infinity, as in August. And, they're already changing things. And I told y'all this was over. And when I'm saying that they were going to start reversing spells. I told you, I didn't know how. I'm not predicting how. I'm not predicting none of that. I'm just showing y'all what's happening as it's happening in real time, so you know what's going on. You know what I mean? So anyway, if y'all want to share those videos or even listen to them again, you know, it's kind of like watching a movie where you'd be like, damn, I need to go back and watch that again because, you know, I know we said that or I know I saw that, but it didn't resonate with me what that actually meant until I had to watch that Joker again. So if y'all don't mind, listen to some of that stuff again and then bring it up to today. And then especially for tomorrow, because all that stuff is happening right now. It's really happening. And I'm excited. I'm so excited. And when I saw this, I really wanted to, you know, I wanted to get like really emotional. I was like damn near teary-eyed when I thought about it. Because this stuff is actually happening. They're breaking the spells in Gary, Indiana. You know, I saw some people out there, you know, trying to help the people, which is wonderful. But that thing was a ritual. And it too is off of Highway 41, and that's Area 51 also. I'm just saying Gary equals 51, as I said earlier. Morocco is there. See, when they had the eclipse, and I want to say it was a solar eclipse, and it began in 2017, and that was the Aleph, Alef, and it went kind of like this way over the United States, and then one had the other one that came some years after that. I want to say in 2025, 8 years after, went that way. So it formed the X. Well, guess where the X was? You know, X marks the spot right there in the middle. The middle was Indiana, Morocco, Little Egypt. And Little Egypt also includes what? Memphis, Tennessee, Egypt, Kentucky, Cairo, Illinois. All that is Little Egypt. And it triangulates. And it's all off the Nile River, the Mississippi. So that's what's really happening. So when they're about to have another, I want to say it's a lunar, it's a half lunar eclipse or something like that. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's supposed to happen between the 27th and 28th because everything in three. So it's going to be 3 days after tomorrow, which is the Area 51 date. And then boom, there you go. It's just an exciting time. And that also would be 7 days. Oh man, this is deep. 7 days after when this whole eclipse thing happens. Thank you for posting that on 27th. 7 days. So we on point, Amy. So when the end of our enslavement was on August the 20th, 7 days from that date is August the 27th. Thank you, Amy, because that's what that is. And then the universe is going to open up and just say, hey, it's time to make the shift. Because everything is that 7 is completion. It's time to make the shift. And that's what Trump was really doing today. He was reversing the spells. So it is a very exciting time to be alive. It's a very exciting time to really actually know what's going on as it's happening because, you know, I'm giving you all the tools to be able to do your own research and look this stuff up yourself and you can see it. Because I can tell you, so many people have hit me up in my email that have blown me away by their own knowledge based on my teachings because they taken what I get given to them and they're like, man, I'm seeing this thing now. You changed my life. And I'm thankful for that because, you know, anybody, what anybody is supposed to do is pour something good into somebody else. You're supposed to enhance. You're not supposed to deplete, right? So to enhance you all's lives, hey, I just want to say, I appreciate the opportunity to have you all as an audience to receive this, because a lot of people will want to shut their mind to it. I guarantee you 1% of the world still don't have a clue what the hell going on. But y'all do. And it's funny because if you try to talk to some other people about what you know, it's not that they don't get it. They don't want to get it. They don't want to get it. And the reason why is because they're comfortable with the status quo. They're just, what they're thinking right now is they just think Trump is a nut. We got this crazy ass president in the White House. And let me touch on that real quick, because Trump said, yeah, I can actually be in office for a third term if I wanted to. He meant that. And little do y'all know, he actually did it 3 times already. Because, see, you remember now, when he first ran and he became the 45th president, he defeated Hillary Clinton, HC, Hillary Clinton. That was a reversal. And then when he ran against Biden, remember now, he never conceded. He never conceded to Biden. And this whole time he said that the election was rigged. So that's going to come out too in just a few days. They're going to start talking about the election was actually rigged. Now, then he won as the 47th president. But have y'all thought about it? His running mate, his running mate, J.D. Vance, which is the opposite of D and J as in Donald John Trump. He is now going to come in, probably win, because they already know who's going to win. And then he can resign while he's in office, and then Trump becomes president again. That's how it can happen. That's all it is. But anyway, in the last days, you're going to hear the Trump as in the trumpets. And I was wrong when I started talking about when Trump crossed over the line yesterday. There were trumpets, but it wasn't 7. It was actually, I want to say it was 10. It may have been 11, but it was more than 7. So I apologize for that. But I was still correct in saying that the trumpets start to blow at the end. And yes, we're there. So I just want to say thank y'all. I hope this was a good live, because I think I got into some stuff tonight. And I just wanted to get straight to the point. And I know when I get off this live, I'm like, damn, I meant to bring that other thing up. And that's probably going to happen. But guess what? The good thing about YouTube, I can always come back and give y'all a little bit more. And it'd be even more interesting because I have more to talk about. So anyway, thank you all for checking in. Remember, y'all can always hit me up. Thank you for posting my Cash App, because there it is. And hit me up in my email if you wish. It's dejurelaw33@gmail.com. That's DEJURE, the number 30, law, LAW, the number 33@gmail.com. Hit me up and let's make this thing happen, because it's too much to be excited about. It's too much. In fact, what I want to encourage y'all to do is, if y'all hear something really breaking and everything that I might want to dig into, hit me up in that email. And if I need to go live and have a real talk about it, I will, and I'll break that joker down. But just know, this is the beauty in it all, that we're here. The race is over. We already crossed that finish line. Again, that brother who won yesterday, well, not brother, but whatever you want to call him, he won. And he represented Sam's Club. And I told you that the opposite of Sam is Mas, and Mas in Spanish is more in English. And he had the H on that uniform as in Honda, because he was reversing spells, and everything in 3s as in Sam's Club. Club is the letter 3, is the letter C, and C is 3. So they were reversing spells, y'all. It wasn't, they knew who was going to win that Joker. They allowed them to win that. Because they had to reverse the spell. And there was a dude walking around like Uncle Sam at the event yesterday. I'm telling y'all they reversing spells because I said Sam is the opposite of Abraham. That's what's going on. So anyway, thank you. And I'll come back tonight if I hear something really good. But for now, I may come back tomorrow because I'm sure it's going to be some good stuff about Area 51. And we're going to get into it, and lots of love, lots of respect. Thank you. I'm going to tell y'all this. The brothers that have hit me up have been very respectful. So I appreciate that. And y'all showed me love in a gentleman type way. And the women, y'all have been nothing but kind. Y'all been nurturing. Y'all been showing love in a way that I can't even imagine. So I want to thank you all for what y'all have given too. So thank you. And you all have been very supportive. So I just want to say thanks. So anyway, y'all have a great evening, and we're gonna chop it up tomorrow. Thank you. Good night.